All right, we're here with Grady Ohman from Lakeside. He's their running back, number 44 over there. So, Cade, do you want to start off with questions?
Yeah. I think we'll start off. I think for us, um, Lakeside kind of exceeded our expectations going into this year. And we figured y'all be a pretty good team, but I mean, I think y'all are. I think we kind of do rankings each week. We have y'all at number 3 and 5A. So what were y'all's expectations going into the season, and do you think y'all exceeded those?
I think our expectations were to just take one game at a time and the challenges that those games are going to take to win. But I think we did shock everybody in the state. We weren't supposed to be this,
Yep.
strong team that people have to game plan for. People thought that it was just a fluke last season because we came from a 2-7 team to a 8-4
Yep.
Yeah.
from the last 2 years, and then now we're 7-1. So just keep getting better. So yeah, I think that's contributed to it a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's honestly, I'm going to be honest, it's kind of how I felt last year. Not because I didn't think y'all were going to be weak this year. I just thought y'all had a really good senior class last year.
Hmm. Hmm.
And, um, and I did think y'all were going to be pretty good. I didn't think you're going to be this good. And it's just crazy
Yeah, we've
how
definitely
y'all
had
have
some
done so
guys.
far.
We've had some guys step up for sure,
Yep.
especially on the line. Our O line has done a tremendous job, protecting the quarterback, open up lanes for me to run in, everything. They're doing a really good job. And then we have a great receiving core that helps. And then our defense has really surprised me because we went from one of the worst defenses last year to uh, arguably one of the best in 5A right now.
Yeah, and I think that's a big testament to Coach Rockwell. As head coach. We
Absolutely.
talked to him earlier in the season. I think it was like a week before the season started,
Yeah.
and we talked to him, and he said he had high expectations for y'all, and I mean y'all have obviously exceeded those. I think defensively, like if you give him was what this is his second or third year as a head coach.
This is his second year as head coach.
Second year. So yeah, you give him another year to kind of, get the team together and be like the main guy and then get that defense going. I think that's
Hmm.
that's been huge for y'all.
Absolutely, it has. I think the last 4 games we've only allowed like 7 points a game, which is
That's crazy.
incredible. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
it's
amazing.
really good.
Especially in that y'all's conference is pretty tough for 5A.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so
five A South is
It's a good
we got
conference.
Camden, we got Parkview, Hot Springs. We got some solid teams in there
yeah, I mean, y'all are one of the best conferences in the state. So
for
Oh yeah.
sure.
that's crazy. So, what's y'all's game this week? You play Parkview. Um,
Hmm.
so obviously Parkview's I mean, they're a powerhouse.
Oh, for
So,
sure. Yeah.
how is the team and the locker room and the coaches approaching this game?
Um, they've the whole week. I mean, to be honest, last week too, because we were playing the Queen. So we've been game planning Parkview for a long time, and the message has been you can't go in there scared, right? We've been watching
Yep.
film. Every team we've seen them play has played scared against them. So I think if we go in there, we hit them in the mouth. Everybody's got a plan till they get hit in the mouth. So we can just hit them
Hmm.
hard and keep hitting them hard. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because when you talked about it, you got a really good O line, and then I mean yourself, you're a really good player. I mean, I think y'all. I mean, y'all could shock. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if y'all beat them. Like, I mean, y'all are a
It's
really solid team.
it's definitely on. Like we're gonna give it our best effort for sure. It's gonna be a good game.
Oh yeah. And so is that at Parkview? Or is it here? Is that
It's at
Lakeside?
Parkview, and it's actually today. It's at Parkview today.
Oh, it's
What's
so it's
today?
today.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's
Halloween.
no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I did not know
Yeah.
that.
I'm excited.
My fun fact, my what period is that? It's my sixth period teacher is gonna be one of y'all's refs.
Really?
So,
All right.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Mr. Burrows.
Mr. Burrows, he's a bald guy.
Yeah,
All right.
if you see a
I'll
bald
see
guy,
you
he's a
Well,
he's
I
just,
feel like all refs are bald, so.
yeah. Well, yeah. If you see a Mr. Clean looking guy, that's him. Yeah.
then. All right.
But yeah, no, I want to ask you about I want to get kind of talk about your stats on the season and yeah, just kind of yeah, like what your stats are and how I don't know the season's been.
Okay. So I think I can't remember if I'm still number one, but last I checked, I was number one in the state for touchdowns
Mm-hmm.
and yards.
Is that
Um,
is that just 5A or state overall?
that's overall. It's in the state.
That's
Wow.
So
crazy.
yeah.
Wow.
So me and this one of my buddies that I met at a football camp, Enoch. He goes to Greenbrier. Me and
Oh,
him.
Oh
Greenberg,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We played against
Yeah.
Yeah, they played against them. Yeah.
Yeah, so
He's a
we go
beast.
back and forth against for the number one spot every week.
That makes sense. That dude's a beast. That dude
He's
is
insane.
insane.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's a super cool guy too.
Yeah, he's really cool. Yes, I want to talk about a little bit about your recruiting and how
Okay.
that's been and some of the colleges and coaches you're talking to.
hmm So, been talking to Harding, UCA, Henderson, just anybody like around in the state, and then some North Texas schools and Little Oklahoma. Um, but I haven't, I've nowhere close to making a decision where I want to go or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And this is your senior year, right?
This is my senior year.
Yeah. So that, I mean, the big decision. I know. I mean, Harding's
For
they're a
sure.
great school. I know
They're
some
really,
people.
yeah. I really like Coach Simmons and his message that he has for the team also. So.
Yeah, I feel like you fit in good there. They got some really good running backs there, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have that
Julian watched
Shiloh kid
Harding.
from last year. There's
yeah,
some
Yeah.
dogs in there.
yeah,
Yeah. Their run game's insane. We watched them against OU. They lost, but
I
like,
know
I
that was
mean,
a crazy game.
it was crazy. Yeah,
yeah,
we were
both
there.
those
Yeah,
teams are crazy.
no,
So
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. OBU is another one on the list. I like OBU also.
yeah,
yeah, and that's not far from Lakeside either. So
It's about 45
yeah,
minutes away.
no,
yeah,
yeah, exactly.
yeah. Shoot, I was just thinking about something. What was I just thinking? Oh yeah. So who are some guys on your team that would you say are like your star players or the leaders of the team?
Okay, so we've got our linebackers, right? We've got Cannon Martin, who's a junior, and Elijah Witherspoon. Those are our inside backers. They control the defense. They both have put in so much effort. Cannon, who was a sophomore and played last year, especially stepped up this year. And Elijah, we call him Spoon. Spoon
Yep,
stepped up from second string D line last year to starting inside backer, and he's done a
it's
really good
crazy.
job. Yeah, and then this is just defensive side. Chris Ford he's first year starting safety, has like 2 pick sixes, crazy amount of interceptions. Luke Robleski has done a great job at safety. I think he leads the team in tackles. We've got
Nice.
Joseph Newman, who's like our heavy hitter guy who just knocks like crazy big hits when you need them.
Mm-hmm.
Forced a ton of fumbles. And then our D line is pretty much all new, and they are doing a great job also. Uh,
Yeah. So you're not playing both ways. You're just playing offense.
um, I only go to defense when it's like really needed
Yeah.
because just save me for offense because I have a lot of carries a game, so
Yeah.
it
You
gets
have to preserve
rough.
that body. Yep.
Exactly. Offense, Tucker Young obviously being our D1 guy, he does a great job at tackle. But the guard that's next to him, Miles Macon, he plays both ways. He does a great job both ways. And he helps Tuck out too on plays that he's not experienced as much as in.
Mm-hmm.
Walker DeLong, this guy, he is an animal. He came from a back surgery his sophomore year, so he didn't play sophomore or junior year. Now he's our starting like sniffer back, our C
Mm-hmm.
kind of tight end player, and defensive lineman, and he starts both ways. Does a great job. Wally Walcott, obviously, he's done amazing. I did not think that he was going to be as good as he is. And then our receiving core speaks for itself. We've got, we won the shootout of the South. We won, I think, all the 7-on-7s we participated in. And then, yeah, our center, Elliott, he's kind of the leader of the line. He keeps everybody in check. Like if somebody's, talking trash on the field, he makes sure they quit.
Yep.
He's like that leader on the field for sure for the line.
Yeah. That's
That's
big.
perfect. What's the word for it? Trait for a center. I
Yeah.
mean,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. He's like,
stereotypical center.
Yeah.
he reminds me of he's like Captain America on the field. Like that's his, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's what he's got to be to keep everybody just, under wraps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I want to move on and kind of ask about the playoffs and kind of how the 5A kind of playoff bracket is
Yeah.
looking like, and where y'all see yourselves going.
So tonight decides if we're
Oh, yeah.
first seed or second seed, right?
Yeah.
So if we're first seed, we'll be on the same side as Parkview, and we'll probably play Robinson or I don't really know. Probably Robinson is in the if they make it all
That'll
the
be a
way.
great rematch there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that game still eats me alive.
Yep.
There's so much that happened that game that shouldn't have. And
Hmm.
like if
Yeah.
we were not locked in the first half, I think we had 0 touchdowns, and then the second half we had 3.
Yep.
So if we play like we do the second half the whole game, we've beaten by 20 points. We're winning
Yep.
that game.
I feel you with that. That's exactly how our Morton game was, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. Man, that was crazy. Just
It.
a game.
Yeah. No. And yes, I think potentially the if y'all aren't on the same side, the 5A state championship right here. Like I think that's
Hmm.
not crazy. I think
It's
y'all
not
are
crazy at all to say, and I don't
no.
think
Yeah.
Lakeside has ever been in a state championship game in the
That's
history of
crazy.
Wow.
school. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're trying to do something that's never been done here before. It's been our goal this whole season.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's really
Because
special.
I mean, y'all, we have we have Joe T ranked above y'all in the rankings just because they
Hmm.
beat y'all. But I mean,
Yeah,
I still think y'all are the better team. Like
I
for
I do
sure.
too.
I think
Yeah,
y'all are the better team.
and every time I see that one on that 7-1, just makes me
I
mad.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I want to ask about Coach Rockwell and your relationship with him and how you think he is as a coach. And
Yeah, so man, playing for Coach Rock has been like a blessing because he's just a guy like you want to play for. He gets like everybody, not just the community, people that you need to help you get to like reach your goals. Like if we're trying to make to this championship, we need to support the whole way, and he's definitely done a great job at that. Like I say, he's just like a coach that he's so good at getting you fired up for the games. Like that's his thing all through practice, all week. Just does a great job of all that stuff.
yep.
Big. I mean, whenever we talked to him, he seemed like a really big motivator kind of guy.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
just totally
Exactly.
confirmed that.
Yeah.
He's yeah.
Uh,
He's one of the. I mean, and all the assistants also are
mhm.
like they all could go be head coaches and do great things, but they don't. They stay here. I think because they love Coach Rock so much and the atmosphere that he's brought to Lakeside.
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Coach Rocco, he seemed really cool.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He's,
My
he's
dad's
awesome.
pretty good friends with him and his
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
so he's a really good dude. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all the questions I
Yeah.
got.
I think that about wraps it up. So I didn't even know the game was today, so
I
that's
didn't
awesome.
either. Yeah,
Yeah. Y'all be watching because it's
Yeah,
gonna be a
I'll
good
definitely be
yeah, I'll
watching.
be watching.
Yeah. Or, screw trick or treat. I'm trying to watch this game right here, baby.
Yeah, yeah. There's gonna be I think, some crazy, face paint, that kind of stuff going on too. So that'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That'd be fun. And it's War Memorial, right?
yeah. So
Yep.
that field is fun to play at.
Yep. I imagine. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir. Thanks for coming on.
We're here with Bryant's offensive coordinator, I guess Coach Jones. And yeah, so I think we're gonna start off here, talking about kind of your start off in coaching, kind of like where did you start off, and talk about kind of that.
So I got my I got my start at my high school at Star City, and I really got lucky going into my junior year of college. The offensive coordinator called me, and they needed some extra help. So actually, I volunteered with them all summer, coaching receivers. He was after about 3 days of practice, he kind of gave them to me, and I ran with it, and so I did that all summer. And then starting my senior year, I had an internship, and I was actually supposed to go to Warren and intern, but the head coach at the time, he was good friends with the lady that set up all the internships at UAM. So he called her and got me switched. So I was able to stay at Star City. I interned there from the 2013 season, and I guess in about April or May, they had an opening, offered me a job. Obviously, I took it, and I was there for 4 years. We did a lot of good things. Didn't accomplish the ultimate goal, but I do believe that 4A is probably the hardest conference to win a state championship in, just because there's so many teams and you got to win so many games. I mean, it's really a 17 game season, and we could just never stay healthy. We felt one year for sure we had a team that had a chance to win it, but injuries caught up with us and we lost on Thanksgiving, and it is what it is. We had a good year, but we didn't complete it the way we wanted to. But so I left Star City, got the receiver job in El Dorado. Um, they had an opening. I applied for it. Honestly, I did not think I would get it. Uh, but I did. We were there for a year. And then I took a job. So whenever I left Star City and went to El Dorado, I took a pay cut, and my wife did not have a job. And it was hard on us. All my family had moved from Southeast Arkansas to Central Arkansas. And so we were kind of down there by ourselves, didn't know anybody, struggled. We went 6-6 that year, got beat by Greenwood, who won it. Um, and which we had a ton of injuries when I was at El Dorado as well. We were pretty good to begin the year, and we ended up losing 12 starters by week 6. We started our punter at quarterback for 4 games. Uh, it was tough, but anyway, so I was there for a year. I coached all the way through the summer. Uh, Took a job in Central Arkansas, and long story short, I played for Coach James at Star City, and in 17, I actually helped the offensive coordinator when I was at Star City. He had became the head coach at Star City, and in 17, I actually helped them remotely. I would go down on Saturdays and help him game plan, but throughout the week I would watch film on my own, and I would give him ideas and input, and I would tag everything on Huddle. Um, and just I worked remotely for him for a year, and then in 18 I ran into Coach James, and he asked if I wanted to come help. So I actually volunteered here for a year in 2018 when we won our first one, coaching receivers. And I got really lucky. I thought I was actually going to go to Cabot because Coach Reed, that was at El Dorado, got the Cabot job. And we had honestly thought we were going to end up moving to Cabot because there wasn't an opening here on any level. And at the very last minute, I didn't have a job offer or anything at Cabot, but at the very last minute, when it kind of came crunch time for me to really start looking around, the receivers coach here left. And so Coach James called me and said, "Hey, man, I got an opening. You want it?" So I interviewed for it. He gave it to me. Very, uh, very humble and appreciative of him for allowing me to step into that role, especially coming off of a state championship season. So, did that, had that role until last year. Our offensive coordinator stepped into the athletic director role, and they immediately before Coach James left to go to Conway, he wanted me. They asked me 3 or 4 times, and I was unsure about it. But they told me I could do it, so I took it. He left to go to Conway. Obviously, we hired Coach Sanders back here, and he was confident in me. He actually wanted me to go to Jonesboro with him when he took that job, but I didn't know about moving up there and all that stuff, and a lot of stuff transpired very, very quickly. So we were kind of not stuck here, but I accepted the job here, and we ended up being able to coach together anyway by him coming back here. And we had an okay year last year. Didn't finish it the way we thought we should have, but we got another chance at it this year. So
Because I mean, y'all have, I think around the state, y'all are kind of known as, I mean, kind of the best team in the state. Y'all are 8-0. So I think, I just wanted to ask, what do you think, like y'all's expectations were going into the year? And I mean, do you think you've, exceeded those, or kind of, what were your thoughts about that?
well, our expectation every year is to win it. Every time that we put pads on, we preach to our kids that there's one goal in mind, and that's to come out with a win. It doesn't matter if it's 7-on-7, if it's a JV game, if we go out there and play flag football versus the firefighters, we expect to win in everything that we do. And, that goes back into our off season starting in January. We do competition stuff every day. And it's honestly, you have to train kids to be competitive because not everybody goes outside in the backyard and plays with their friends or in the neighborhood or play pickup basketball. So you kind of have to train that mentality into kids a little bit more than you used to have to. And I'm not very old. I'm only 35, but I can see a difference in whenever I was growing up and then kids that were coaching today. It is a little different. We weren't inside playing video games unless it was dark or raining. We were outside building forts, cutting firewood, playing football in the backyard, whatever. It didn't matter. Having dunk contests, even though none of us could dunk. I mean, it was just outside competing at something. So it is a little different, but that's the mentality that we have really going into everything that we do. And we have it in the weight room. We lift every day of the year, just about, and that's a non-negotiable. We will lift before practice every single day, starting at 6 a.m. And if you miss, you don't play, period. So that's just it is what it is, and we've kind of our kids buy into it. We Coach James did a really, really great job when he first got here establishing all of that. And he really laid the foundation for the culture. And then us coaches are able to really just keep it going. Nothing changed when he left. And it's just holding kids accountable every day and not ever letting up. So
Yeah. You talked about how everybody bought in whenever he got there, and I think that's really important because it's not just. I mean, it's not a coach can't just do it all by himself. Like, yeah, you can bring in this great coach to somewhere, but then also the kids have to buy in. I mean, you see that in Sheridan right now.
mhm.
Kevin Kelly is an amazing coach, but I mean they're not doing great yet. But I feel like as time goes on, as more of those players buy in, they're going to just get better and better. And they've done that this season so far. Every game, it looks like they're getting even better. So I see what you're saying on that.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. You have to have buy-in. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of X's and O's you draw up. It doesn't matter what kind of coach you hire or who you are. If the kids don't buy in and if they don't want to do it, then it's not going to work. Period.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get so I guess transition to the game tomorrow. Y'all play North Little Rock. I know
Mhm.
they've kind of had a tough season uh so far, but what's y'all's game plan going to that game and kind of some X's and O's stuff.
So yeah, North Little Rock, they haven't had the year that they wanted. It's been tough on them. I think they've dealt with a lot of injuries, and of course, they were hit really hard by the portal. They lost
Yeah, the
probably
quarterback.
their
Yeah.
best player to Parkview going into the year and all that. So, um, you know, they do a lot of good stuff offensively. Me and Coach Sanders was talking about them yesterday, and I mean, formation wise, they will formation you to get some good stuff on defenses, and they have trouble executing at times on offense. Defensively, they've went back to the 3-4, and they will bring the house. They'll play zero and try to lock you up, and really they just try to get you behind the chains early to make you throw it in obvious passing situations, and they're really not bad at it. They're going to have some good plays against us. They're going to catch us. I mean, I'm going to call something that's going to be stupid, and they're going to get us for a loss, and it is what it is. But at the end of the day, we got to be able to handle pressure and throw one on one, and I think we'll be able to do that. We've done a good job. You know, what has been different for us this year in our conference is we added PA and Little Rock Christian, and they're both three front teams, and they blitz a lot. So really us, having them, leading up to this game is really going to really prepare us for this game because they blitz a lot, but we've worked so much really the last 4 weeks on picking up stunts and blitzes up front that we're pretty confident in that area now.
So, yeah. So you talked about they run a three front and how Little Rock Christian and PA are very similar. They blitz a lot with the three front. How do you, with this season being so much different, with y'all's conference, do y'all think that that has changed like the mindset of anybody, or is it just the same? Just like, do you look at them as just another team, or do you look at them as PA and Little Rock Christian?
Yeah, we've had the opportunity to really schedule PA every year. We've played them every year since Coach James got hired here in 17 or
Yeah.
16 in a scrimmage game. So we knew what to expect from PA. And we knew about all the obviously the onside kicks and all that stuff, and we did really good against them in that area. I think we fielded all of them. So we knew about PA and how they were. Our kids were used to them. Little Rock Christian was, the question mark really. They were for us, they were the new team, and we didn't
Right.
know how physical they were going to be. We didn't know how strong they were going to be. We didn't know if they would, fight for 4 quarters or not. It appeared so on film, leading up to that game. They did a lot of good stuff on film, and they're a good football team. We were just able to wear them down, and honestly, we got on them early. And I think that was the first time that they had been down early in a long time. And
Yeah.
I don't know if they really knew how to respond just because they haven't been in that scenario. So we got off to a fast start. Our defense swarmed them, and they couldn't get anything going early. They moved the ball on us, but we were able to, stiffen and make them punt or make them turn it over in crucial situations. So our defense stepped up, got us the ball back quickly early, and we were able to put some points on the board.
Yep.
I agree.
Big
I
win.
think
Yeah.
Little Rock Christian was a huge question mark this year, especially because they had such a strong senior class last year.
And their coach left too.
Yeah, so it was like a it. I agree with what you're saying. They were a big question mark, and
Yeah.
with PA, that's something me and Kate have also both talked about before. How whenever you play PA, the teams that have good coaching are typically the teams that play better against PA because they do recover those onsides, and that gives them the field position. And whenever you get the ball like in the middle of the field every single time, I
You
mean,
should win.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
helps out a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of a loaded question here, but I wanted to ask, so who are some guys kind of on the offensive side of the ball? There's kind of some, key guys, main guys, and then adding on to that, like, what are some, I don't know, what are some kind of concepts y'all kind of run to like, better utilize those guys and really get the best out of them?
So I like studying a lot of what Chip Kelly does.
Yep.
Obviously when he was at Oregon, they were really up tempo and they ran a lot of inside zone and outside zone. And we're a big inside zone team, but we're also a big pin and pull team. And when he got to UCLA, he started running a whole lot of pin and pull, and he would change who his read was. Sometimes they wouldn't read anybody. Sometimes they would read an interior lineman or a defensive end. And I really like what he did, especially because he had, I don't want to say lesser talent, but UCLA is not known for their football.
Yeah.
So he was able really to get a lot out of those guys that he had. I also like what they do at Oklahoma State in their run game. They do some different stuff.
Yeah.
It's base run game with simple tags to change it and make it appear different. And I think they do a really good job, at Oklahoma State. And so we watch a lot of their film too, just to see. But what you can't do as especially an offensive coordinator is, there when you sit down on Saturday and Sunday, you're going to see a ton of plays that you want to run.
Mm-hmm.
And not everything fits your identity. Not everything will fit your skill that you have. Like the stuff that they run on Sunday, we can't run because not all four of our receivers are going to run a 4.340. We can't
Right.
push our
Yeah.
we can't push our digs, to 20, 25 yards. And we don't we typically don't throw our post, 65 yards down the field. We've gotten
Yeah.
away with that some this year, but so we don't run comebacks at 20 yards. And that's a lot of the NFL game just because they're so fast and they're taking 5 and 7 step drops and they're play actioning and all that. So you can get some run game ideas from the NFL, but pass game wise, it's really hard. You can run some of the deep over stuff off play action, but it's hard. You really kind of have to stick to the college level. And I think, early when I first started coaching college level, they were really stealing a lot of ideas from the NFL because everybody was pretty much pro style. Well, now they're college is a lot of RPO stuff, so you can take a lot of what they do in college level and try to implement it if it fits, your identity.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of offensive coordinators they have this whole playbook full of just plays, and they don't they're not married to anything, and they're just out there calling plays. And so I think a lot of times you see it just doesn't work, even though they're really good play calls. Um, but at the end of the day, it doesn't fit who they are. So,
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean you see a lot of offensive coordinators that are successful one place and they try to do the same exact thing at another place and it just doesn't work.
It don't work.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you got to be able, and you got to be willing to adapt. So,
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. Uh, I think yeah, we'll ask this. So, I know we ask this a lot to a lot of coaches. So, what are some you think you're a kind of X and O's kind of coach, or you think you're more like kind of like a motivator, kind of like for the players,
so if you ask my kids, they would probably say I'm more of an X's and O's coach because I'm always sitting at my desk drawing something up, or I'm on the
Yeah.
whiteboard in our meetings and I'm drawing something up, and I really love the game planning part, Monday through Thursday. I really love that part of it. But really, I think you have to be both because as you've got to be able to get your kids willing to do whatever you want them to do. Because if they don't,
Right.
again, going back to the buy-in, if they're not bought in, then it's not going to work. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And
Yep.
so, the kids have to know that you care about them. You've got to build that relationship with them. And once you have that relationship built, they'll run through that brick wall for you. So I do think you have to be a little bit of both, but I would say I probably lean more towards the X and O's type, but
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean that's exactly how I feel about our offensive coordinator, honestly. Do you know
yeah,
Coach Gunner?
yeah, I've heard of him.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean he's exactly the same way, honestly. He's always drawing stuff up on the board and
yeah,
talking about X's and O's and whatnot. But he does do a great job of building a relationship and
yeah. It's
yeah.
funny right now. I technically I have him in class, and he's my teacher, and he's always on the whiteboard just drawing up plays, and like we're in
Yeah,
there because I mean when he's in health, like we're not learning that much, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the next question on our list?
Talk about some of the guys on offense.
Oh yeah. So who would you say are your main guys on offense?
So this year we've been really diverse on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, we're led by our senior quarterback Jordan Walker. He's a 3-year
Yep.
starter for us, and when by the end of this year, he'll have all the records at that position, breaking Austin Ledbetter's
Oh
passing
yeah.
records.
That's
So
crazy.
that's a huge accomplishment. But
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is.
uh, we're led by him, but we've got three really, really good running backs. One of them splits time at receiver, but our two main backs, Daniel Anderson and Myron Thrash, they're a handful, and
Yep.
they're both 210, 215 pounds. They
Gosh.
both bench over 335. They squat over 415. Um, they're they're awesome,
Yeah.
and then usually in the past we have two really, really good receivers, and then we have two that complement those guys. This year, I really feel like we've got four really good guys. Really, we've got five. Two of them play the same position. So
Yeah.
we've got one senior, Carter Ratliff. He's our Y, our tight end, our slot. He's 6'5", 6'6". He weighs about 220, and he can really run. People really underestimate his speed, but he's got such a long stride. When you're running, it doesn't look like he's running very fast, but he's covering a
Yeah.
lot of ground. So he probably only runs really about a 4.6, but people would just underestimate him. And then we've got Kamari Austin. He's a junior. He didn't play a whole lot for us last year. But I changed his position this year. I put him in the slot. I told him we were going to call his number a lot and call it early. And we got him a lot of confidence in the summer. He had a little spell where he had the yips, I call it.
Hmm.
He had some drops there for a while, but we got him out of it. He overcame it, and he's been great for us. I believe he leads us in receiving touchdowns right now. Carter leads us in
Nice.
yards. I think Carter has the yards, and then Kamari has the touchdowns. But then gaining quickly, we have Caleb Tucker, who's another junior, and he hurt his ankle in the summer. He broke his ankle in the summer when we went to Searcy for the 7-on-7, and he missed the first four games. And um, Little Rock Christian was the first game that he played in this year, and he exploded on the scene. And he plays when we're in trips, he's on the backside. And if you give us one on one, it's so far it's been a touchdown because he's
That's
he's a
crazy.
dude.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that he'll go play at the next level. All those guys are. And then I've got a sophomore that rotates with him, Jacoby Boone. He's been a running back really his whole career, but he's kind of a little guy, but he can fly. So I put him at receiver this year, knowing that we've got three really good running backs. I didn't want him on the sideline. He's too good of an athlete. So
Yeah.
he bought into playing receiver really during spring ball, and he's come on for us. He's been big. He started as a sophomore in the Salt Bowl. So, and he had two really big catches in that game. Then at Z out wide, we have Keenan Latin, who he rotated some last year. I always consider guys if they're in the two deep at the receiver position, they're a starter. So I consider him a returning starter from last year. He rotated with Sean Rycraw, who's at UAM now, and he's been big for us. He's had some big catches for us so far this year, and he's a guy that can really fly as well. He runs, I think he just ran 20.8 miles per hour last Friday in our game.
Gosh.
He's on track team. He can fly too. So we've got some burners out wide. We've got some big backs that can tote it. We really, going into the year, we knew we had everything, but maybe the offensive line. And early, it was not pretty, but those guys they're bought in. We've got two returning tackles from last year. One's a 3-year starter, one's a 2-year starter, and they're dudes. And then we've got two juniors at guards who are both really strong. They make boneheaded mistakes at times, but they make up for it in
Yeah.
just their tenacity, and they get after people. And then our biggest question mark was our center. Who was going to play center for us? We had a guy coming back that's a senior that had played sparingly. We were really lucky to have Matt Elder the last 3 years at center, and he's now at SAU. So we had to find a center, and the guy that we have at center, he looks like he should be playing receiver. He's only about he's only about 6'1", if that, and I'm gonna say he weighs 215, 220.
That's
But
insane.
Wow.
he knows his assignment. He very rarely ever busts a play. He can make every call on the offensive line. He's very cerebral. So And I told Coach Clancy last week, I doubted this guy all summer. I doubted him, you know, going all the way into the Parkview game. And after that, I said, I'm not going to doubt him anymore. He's the dude, he's got it. So,
Yep.
and so that was really our biggest question mark, our offensive line, and they've really came on, really as of late. They've done a really really good job, just buying in and just coming to work every day.
Yep. That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's the last question we always ask to coaches. But yeah.
Yeah. So do you play like Madden or like NCAA 25 or anything like that? And like, do you play it and try to use your stuff on it and like it not work or work or whatever?
So I do play NCAA.
Yep.
I have not turned it on since August, but I was on it every day in the summer.
That's
Um,
like us. That was just like us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I do some of the stuff that we do. Obviously, is on the game. I mean, everybody really
Right.
runs the same plays,
Yeah. Yeah.
for the most part. So yeah, I'll do some of the same stuff. I've created my own playbook on there, and it's pretty good. It's a good time. I don't
Yeah.
play online because my internet sucks at my house, but so that sucks. I can't play with the kids, but
I relate to you on that one.
Yeah.
yeah, our internet is terrible, but I think it's because everybody in my neighborhood's like on the same internet. Everybody has AT&T, so like obviously you pay for a certain percentage, but really you're sharing that with people around you. So
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
it's just we can stream on it, but when it comes to playing online, it's like it's not very good. So it just makes
Yeah.
me mad.
Yeah. And I want to ask if you've ever like gotten a play from college football. I know a lot of those plays are kind of all the same, but like if you've ever like gotten a play and like put it into your playbook.
Yeah, there's some stuff on there, kind of going back to earlier, watching on Saturdays,
Uh,
like for instance, Bobby Petrino, he's doing a lot of 12 personnel stuff,
Yep.
Yeah.
was early anyway, and we've got a backup tight end. He used to play offensive line. We moved him to tight end last year, and so we do some of the same stuff that Petrino does. I've kind of taken some of the stuff like just the zone read stuff out of 12 personnel and all that.
Yep.
So yeah, you can definitely take some stuff off of there. Um, Now, you have to know the scheme because on the video game, the blocking schemes are not always correct. They've
Yeah,
gotten a
they're
lot
horrible.
They're
better,
They're so
terrible.
bad.
They're terrible.
but they're not always like sometimes you're running inside zone and they should double off to a backer and they double off to
They
the
just
wrong
don't.
backer. And I'm like, I'm not accounting for that guy. Like
Yeah.
doubling him. So
Yeah.
yeah, so there's some stuff on there though that you can definitely use.